So you didn't start out as a leader. You worked your way up through the ranks, and you learned from people and experiences. Who or what shaped you?
Well, I was really lucky. Again, it's a great environment to grow up in. From a kid, basically, seeing and being in SEAL platoons with varied types of leadership. And I was very lucky that I saw really outstanding leaders, and I saw some leaders that weren't outstanding at all, far from it.
And you can learn from both.
And I learned from both, and even as a young kid, I wouldn't put it together 100%, but I'd say, man, that guy does something that makes us all want to do a good job for him. I want to act like that guy. And this guy over here, he makes us all mad, and we don't even want to come to work and work for him. I'm not going to act like him. And eventually I kind of figured out what those traits were that they had, and actually humility being one of the most important ones that I noticed with the people we wanted to work for and I wanted to do a good job for. Those guys are the most humble people. And ironically, always the most experienced too. So the most experienced people would be the most humble, and the least experienced people would be the least humble and be the most imposing of how they wanted to do things, which is not a good way to lead.
What are some of the experiences that shaped the leadership philosophies you had developed?
Well, it was my whole career, but really the solidification of what I talk about now and what I wrote about with my brother Leif Babin, who's another SEAL that served with me in the Battle of Ramadi. What we talk about now is those lessons that we learned throughout our career that were solidified in the Battle of Ramadi and certified, battle-tested, and really, I say it all the time, combat is the harshest of teachers, and it teaches lessons that you're not going to forget, and that's true. And so the lessons that we brought home from Ramadi, it's the same thing that I taught when I was teaching the young SEAL officers how to lead on the battlefield is literally the exact same thing that's in the book Extreme Ownership, and it's the same thing we teach to companies when we're out working with them.
So let's talk about the ways that discipline governs your life today. You're obviously in incredible physical shape. You have a strict diet and exercise regimens that you stick to. What are some other musts for you on a daily basis to make sure that you're getting the most out of yourself?
Fundamentally, and this is so easy and so hard. People say, how can I get discipline in my life? And I tell them, step number one is wake up early. And I know people don't want to do it. It's harsh. I know that your alarm clock is, your most hated object in your bedroom. I get that. But here's the deal with getting up early in the morning. When you get up early in the morning, if you can get up before the rest of the world is awake, right? Before the enemy's awake, before the rest of the world is awake, you can get so much done. You're so much more productive without your phone going off, without people sending you emails and texting you or calling you. And you wake up in the morning, there's just quiet, and you can get things done. And you should do things, and I do things in the morning that I know they're a priority for my life, but maybe they're not a priority for that day, right? So, like for instance, working out. You got to work out every day. You got to stay in shape. If you want to, if you don't stay in shape, you die, right? So you got to stay in shape. But working out might not be a priority for every single day because you've got things going on in your business world and with your family and all that. So guess what? It's a priority for my life, so I do it in the morning before my day even starts. So I can still handle the priorities for the day, but I got my workout done. So long term, I look up in a year and I'm not out of shape and breathing hard when I go up the stairs because I maintain that discipline on a daily basis. So I think getting up early, I think doing some kind of exercise every day, I don't care what it is. You just have to do something. You have to do something physical. That's scientifically proven with not only bro science, but also real science, that waking up early or that doing physical exercise every day, it tunes your mind, it puts more oxygen in your blood, in your brain. It is absolutely makes you think more clearly. So waking up early, working out every day, if you start with those two kind of cornerstones, and then the other thing is, figure out what you're going to do during the day. Don't go to bed without a plan of how you're going to handle the next day.
Your day is very structured. I know you write at the same time every day. You have a schedule.
Yeah, I have a schedule, and I execute the schedule, and that's what you need to do. Now, you actually said that my time is very structured, and it's actually a little bit not true. Parts of my day are very structured. Parts of my day are very disciplined. which gives me freedom in other parts of the day. And as a matter of fact, sometimes people will get, okay, I'm gonna run a disciplined time management schedule. So they schedule every single minute of the day. And I don't recommend that. Just like I wouldn't recommend conducting a SEAL operation where your timeline is so tight that there's no room for error, because that's not a possibility. You're going to have errors, things are going to go wrong, vehicles are going to break, boats are going to break, people are going to get lost, you're going to take a wrong turn, and so you're going to need extra time. And it's the same thing with your day. If you schedule, 16 hours of your day, you're not going to hit all your targets. But if you look at your work day and you've got an 8-hour work day where you're going to be in your office, and you schedule 4 or 5 of those hours, and you have 3 hours that you're going to fill in, and you're going to put important things into those as they come up, that is a much better way to be successful with running a time management on your life. And so I only schedule hardcore like 4 hours a day. The other hours, I'm picking up, I'm getting phone calls, I'm adapting and maneuvering on other things that need to be executed on. But what is important, those 4 hours, they get done. They get done. And that's the difference between finishing writing a book and not finishing writing a book. Because, when I write a book, I write 1,000 words a day. It takes me about an hour. That's what I do. I write 1,000 words a day. And in 30 days, you got 30,000 words. And in 60 days, you got 60,000 words. And in 90 days, you got 90,000 words, and that's a book. That's 3 months. And it took you an hour a day. And that's exactly what I did with the books that I've written. And it's the same thing with physical fitness. You don't get in amazing shape in this short amount of time, but you get in amazing shape in a short amount of time, day after day after day after day. And that's where discipline comes in on both those subjects.
Waking up thing is pretty unpopular.
Yeah, no one likes that. That's okay. Keep sleeping in. That's fine.
You wake up earlier, you have to go to bed earlier. There are fun things that happen at 11.
Yeah, and that is true. And I guess I'm genetically what's called a short sleeper, and people have sent me all these articles about it because I don't sleep a lot. And I'm not advocating because it's unhealthy to not sleep enough, and if you need 8 hours, go to bed earlier. But, and I'm not saying you need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I am saying this. You know when you are guilty of wasting time and laying in bed and you're being lazy. You know it. Whether that was 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, you know it. And the other thing that we do is, if you want to wake up early in the morning, go to bed earlier. Well, that's real simple to say, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do, number one, when you're looking at your phone. It's hard to do when you're staring at your computer screen. It's hard to do when you're watching TV. Those things are meant. They're designed to make you keep looking at them. And so you do. So what you need to do is turn those things off and try and go to bed. Now, the first night, you're going to have a hard time going to sleep. What you do is the next morning, you wake up early anyways. That first night, you only got 5 hours worth of sleep, and now you're tired throughout the day. Good. Because then when you get to bed that night, you will turn off that computer. You'll be able to go to bed earlier like you wanted to. So you have to start the cycle of waking up early by waking up early. You can't start the cycle by going to sleep early.